got Alfie Slater starting on pole, then Blake Hutton, Tom Shipman, Aston Lupton, James King, Matthew Clark, Colin Bengelo, Alan Gudgeon, Lewis Blench, Chris Phillips, Lewis Canlett, Julius Sanchowitz, Barry Lakes, Jamie Sherman-Chase, Junaid Jones and Joel Metcalf. All eyes on the lights, and it's time to let this race begin here at Warden Law. Alfie Slater does not get a great start as Blake Hutton cuts right across, which allows the driver involved to manage to slot himself into second, and what an unbelievable start from all the way back from Blake in second, and the driver involved is already all over the back of Blake's car, and down the inside Alfie Slater tries to make up the lost positions. He's down on the inside going into Dog's Sled, which puts him back into second place as they head towards the centre S's. It's too wide at St John's, but look at Blake out in front. That gap is already forming, and Alfie Slater seems to be struggling with that card he's been given. There did seem to be some starting issues when they were sat in the grid, but now he's got the driver right behind him all over the back of him, which will allow Tom to catch back up, and James King is going too wide into Dunlop chicane. That does not fit. Someone has to back out, and it was James King that had to back out there, but he does have the inside coming down the back straight, but he's having to back out. It's 3 wide just behind him. Are they going to make it through? They just about make it through, and Jamie Sherman-Chase comes out on top in that battle there, but out in front, Blake still hold that gap. Alfie has closed it ever so slightly. His weather problems he had to start the race seems to be working for him, and he will now have the tow pulling him all the way down the straight, which is something Blake Hutton will have to deal without. Let's see how this plays out as they go into the first corner. He's managing now to hold that, and the top 3 are right there out front of Blake Hutton, Alfie Slater, Aston Lupton, Tom Shipman, Lewis Blench, Colin Bengelo, Lewis Canlett, James King, Matthew Clark, James Sherman-Chase, Chris Phillips, Adam Gudgeon, Lewis Sanchowitz, Barry Lakes, Joel Metcalf and Junaid Jones. There's a little bit of hands in the air from the top 3 there. I believe Aston Lupton made a move there, and Alfie's fallen all the way down the order to now behind Tom Shipman, who has got him all over the back. He's a lot quicker, Alfie Slater. They are in 2 different categories, so you would expect that with Tom Shipman managing to hold him off. This will be brilliant for him to fend off the rest of the lightweights for the rest of the day, but Blake is out in front, and I believe Ashton is just behind, hopefully going to try and close in on this next lap. He doesn't want to lose that tow because he's got Tom Shipman right behind him, ready to take advantage of the situation. It's very much bump to bump between Tom Shipman and Alfie Slater. Alfie trying to make a move. He will have the tow coming down the Conrod straight here. Will he be able to do anything at the end of the straight? Let's find out. If we look in second place, Aston Lupton has closed on Blake there. Blake is going to be having to look over his shoulder here, and Alfie Slater goes for a move on Tom Shipman right at the first corner there as they head now round into the Dog's Leg. It looks like Aston Lupton is eyeing up a move on Blake Hutton. He can't hold him off for long because right behind him is Alfie Slater, ready to join the battle for first place. And as Blake Hutton moves over to defend, going into the centre S's, you've got Aston Lupton looking for a move. He goes side by side, coming out, but he has to back out as Blake has the inside line going into Dunlop chicane, which drops him down, meaning it's now 2 wide with Alfie Slater making a move into Dunlop chicane, and it's gone from a 2-way battle to a 5-way battle in about 2 quarters time. Alfie Slater is wanting to take back this lead he had at the start of the race. He's got Blake Hutton all in his eyes there. They're going side by side, coming out of Gasworks there. Blake Hutton is going to have to defend for his life coming into the horseshoe here. It's 4 people battling for 1 spot on the podium as they come round this corner here. Blake gets a brilliant exit, but he won't have that tow. You've got Alfie Slater getting pushed along by Aston Lupton, and it's 5 cars right behind Blake going into turn 1. Let's see who comes out on top. Alfie Slater manages to hold that second place position. It looks like second and third of Aston Lupton are starting to work together to try and beat Blake Hutton, but Blake is defending on every single course. They head round into St John's now. You can see he takes a much tighter line. Blake Hutton moves across the track, ready to defend. Aston Lupton sees the defensive move. He tries to make a move on Alfie Slater, but doesn't. And James King, where have you come from? You were down in 7th last time I checked, but he's now battling with Tom Shipman as they head out of the centre S's. He's all over the back of Tom Shipman, which is giving Colin Bengelo a chance to come back into this. They're nearly 2 wide going into the Dunlop chicane. This is not going to help their battle there at the top of the lightweights. It looks like now as we head round into Gasworks. It is 4 people battling for first place. Blake Hutton still managing to hold Alfie Slater up, but down the inside, Aston Lupton is looking to make a move, and he does. Aston Lupton goes up into second, but he has a right turn coming up here, meaning Alfie Slater manages to slot himself back in. If they work together, they might be able to catch Blake Hutton here, but at this rate, the way it's going, they're not going to manage to. Lewis Blench has managed to insert himself into this 4-way battle now for the top, allowing Blake Hutton to get away here. Alfie Slater is still over the back, and Ashton right behind him. Blake is causing a few issues for Alfie Slater and Aston Lupton there. As we're heading into St. John's, it looks like Alfie Slater's gone for a move, but it just hasn't quite worked out as Blake Hutton moves across, and Aston Lupton's having to defend on Lewis Blench there as well. As we're heading into the ZS's, it's too wide between Aston Lupton and Lewis Blench. Lewis Blench looking like he's getting a slightly better exit there, heading into the Dunlop chicanes, but Alfie Slater is pushing Blake Hutton through those chicanes there, and as they head down the back straight, which isn't so straight, meaning it allows Alfie Slater to try and make a move to get some push from Aston Lupton there down into Gasworks. For a second there, Alfie Slater was out in front. He's now back out in front. Alfie Slater manages to take the lead on this race back after that dreadful start with Blake Hutton just in second. And as they cross the line, let's see what the running order is for your top drivers currently. So, in first we have Alfie Slater, then we have Blake Hutton, Aston Lupton, James King, Lewis Blench, Tom Shipman, Colin Benchlow, Jamie Shone-Chase, Matthew Clark, Adam Gudgeon, Louis Canlett, Chris Village, John Metcalf now, then Barry Lakes, then Junaid Jones. Looks like that John Metcalf made 2 positions in that race. We've got Julia, and then we've got Bobby down in last place. But there is an absolute train happening out on track, because guess who's back out in front? He's only going to done it. It's Blake Hutton. And as we head into the centre S's, is that James King I see there in second? How's he managed to get up there? But he's got Alfie Slater all over the back of him there. James King is currently running second in this race, and right behind him is Lewis Blench. As they head down to back straight, there's been a big crash as they head into the Dunlop chicanes. 3 do not fit into that corner there, and I believe it looks like Tom Shipman got cornered, Adam Gudgeon as well, and I'm not too sure who the driver, there was another driver also involved in that crash.
Oh, jeez. Could not avoid that at all.
As we head back to the front of the field, it looks like we do have Blake Hutton out in first, James King in second, and right behind them has Lewis Blench. Not sure if there's any penalties going to be dished out for that incident over there. But we'll have to wait and see post-race. But right to the front, James King has just gone for a move on first place, and he's managed to make it stick as they head down into St. John's. Right behind him as well, Lewis Blench has fallen him through, but right there in all of this battle and top of your juniors currently, I believe it's Blake Hutton heading into the centre S's. James King is now commanding this race, and he's actually pulling away. Alfie Slater though, do not write him off. He's come from behind before, and he's now fighting to try and get back to the front of that, but right behind him is Jamie Shone-Chase, who's been right down in the order from the start of the race, but has managed, with all the chaos happening in front of him, managed to get himself up into 5th place in this race. There's around about 4 minutes left in this race, and the gap in the field does seem to start spreading out, so the chaos should seem to die down. But if we head round the corner, James King gets a great exit out of Paddock Bend there, but right behind him, Aston Lupton isn't wanting to finish second in this race. He's getting that toe, he's eyeing up and overtakes. They head round to the first corner. Just behind him, Blake Hutton wants to get back to first there as they head into the dog's leg. Blake Hutton is eyeing up an overtake. He goes slightly tight, but there's no gap for him to get around there. So let's see if there's anything he can do as he heads down into St. John's. Again, slightly tighter, but no gap to try and make that move stick. As they head into the centre S's, it looks like the pound a piece there, and the gap is about the same. Aston Lupton managed to gain a little bit on James King there, probably a little bit to do with that toe, but they're bumper to bumper as they head into Dunlop chicane and down to the back straight. It looks like James King is losing a little bit of speed there to Aston Lupton. It's probably something to do with that toe all the way down that back straight as they head into Gasworks. He tries to make a move, but it means James King has the inside going into the horseshoe, so he probably won't manage to keep that there. And this is allowing Blake Hutton to try and regain those positions that he lost about halfway through this race. We've got 2 minutes and 50 seconds left on the clock. Will he be able to do it? Let's find out. As James King is practically getting pushed down the straight by Lewis Blench, and this is allowing Blake Hutton to also use that toe to keep himself in this race. Alfie Slater, the gap does seem to be ever so slightly bigger as we come round the corner there. As we move into the final stages of this race, Tom Shipman was one of those drivers that got stuck a little bit early in that chaos at the Dunlop chicane, but Barry Lakes is now all over the back of him, and I believe that is Adam Gudgeon just behind him as well, battling for that position. Now that I've got my timing screen back, I can let you know what other action is happening out on circuit. So James King is coming round the final corner again onto the Conrod Straight. Bumper apiece still, he does not need to make a move with Lewis Blench just behind him, and Blake Hutton, the gap is about the same as they head into the first corner. Jamie Sherman Chase though is chasing down Alfie Slater. That toe has really been helping out, and the gap is getting ever so smaller, and that battle with Tom Shipman and Barry Lakes is about to get resolved as Barry Lakes crosses the first corner, manages to make the move. Got about 1 minute left on the clock here. James King has gone ultra defensive heading into the centre Exeter, and Lewis Blench goes for a move as they head down into the Dunlop chicane, manages to make it stick. James King has to give the position, and now they head down the back straight and the bumper to bumper. This has allowed Blake Hutton to try and get himself back into this. They go side by side. Blake into Gasworks, but doesn't manage to make it stick. He has to back off a little bit, but looks like James King is pushing Lewis Blench round the horseshoe there, which again, Blake Hutton is taking full advantage and tries to make a move, but it just doesn't manage to make it stick as they head onto the Conrod Straight. We're coming into the final laps of this session here. On my timer, we've got 30 seconds on the clock, so this must be the last lap of the race as we head down into the dog's leg. It is Lewis Blench that has managed to be out in front, just in front of James King, right on his bumper, and all of this battling between your top three, including Blake Hutton, has allowed Alfie Slater to close this gap. Will he be able to clutch it on the last lap if any chaos happens in front of him? I'm not so sure. That gap does seem to be a little bit too big if we've got about 1 lap left of this race. But as they head into the Dunlop chicanes, that gap between Lewis Blench and James King is a hell of a lot bigger than it has been for the past few laps, but he will have the toe as he heads down the back straight. He's closing up, he's about to tap his bumper as they head into Gasworks. He tries not to hit him so he can keep his speed going through the flowing momentum of this track as they head round into the horseshoe. This is going to have to be his opportunity to make the move. On my clock here, the timer has finished. Let's see who will come out on top as they come round the final corner. We have Lewis Blench, then James King, then Blake Hutton, Alfie Slater, Jamie Sherman Chase, Matthew Clark, Chris Phillips, I think, has just managed to make a move, Louis Canlett, Callum Benchlow, Barry Lakes, Joel Metcalf, Tom Shipman, Adam Gudgeon, Julius Sanchwick, Aston Lupton, Bobby Jambo, and Janae Jones. All right, we have our win here from the first heat. How did you find that? You had quite a battle there.
I kept out the trouble. I kept it clean and got James at the end. So
it seemed to be that toe was massive down the straight. Like if you were out in front, defending seemed really hard. You seemed to use it at the right time to make the moves. Then there was only a few laps left.
Yeah, when James defended that middle left-hander, he just him that much for the next right-hander. As soon as I got the opportunity, I just went for it.
Yeah. Well, congratulations and well done. See you next race.